Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to our final game of Marathon Day number 2. I'm starting to hallucinate, but, well, let's see if we can get through this one intact. It's Alliance versus Virtus Pro as the draft begins. We'll take a quick look at our group standing, see where these teams stand, and take a little while to load there. But yeah, we've got Alliance 5-4. They're in the mix. VP, they're 3-0, actually. They won their earlier match today. These standings only get updated once a day, so they're currently not 100% accurate with today's results. But yeah, Alliance is not looking like a great candidate to go to the LAN finals, though they're definitely not out of it yet. And, well, with that, I'm LD of Beyond the Summit. I'm joined here today by Blaze. Blaze, final match of the day. You handing in there, man?
Most certainly. I could go for a couple dozen more. You ready to go? Let's pick up Imaginary North America SLTV. I don't know.
Fuck you. Oh, my God.
You'll probably try to fall asleep and dream of what NA Dota would be if it was gaming. Like at this point, like we've been casting so much that like literally I'm thinking of professional games in my sleep, and it's just invading my dreams. I don't know. I might be a nightmare rather, but we'll see. Some Dota to close this out between Virtus Pro. I guess we should distinguish it's their original team, not the Polar team, the one and that is replaced NVMI, and we'll be seeing them start off with the Murano, which I think is actually Jodam's best hero by far, and honestly, it might be one of the best Muranos by far, as far as just early game aggression. We'll see what he can set, what kind of heroes they can get to set him up, but even without setup, we've seen him hit some amazing arrows via movement predictions. We'll see if that's going to give them a nice edge here in the early game as they pick up the Razor alongside it, and of course, Alliance, they're running the Avoid Crybulus this time around.
Yeah, so they deny the combo partner for the Murana, though there's still plenty of other options. And we've seen Jodam win his team games even without setup, similar to FY for Vici Gaming at times in terms of just how ridiculous his arrows are. So still expecting a lot for him. It's been first phase banned many games against VP, but it seems Alliance are more afraid of the G Tinker. And I do want to mention, before this gets too far underway, that there's an extra stand-in here. It's Key playing for Ake. Ake is in Japan on vacation. I'm not sure exactly what he's doing there. I just know he's not playing. So I'm not really familiar with Key at all. Do you know anything about him?
Not at all. It might even be an alias. I'm not too sure. But I have not heard of any professional player named Key, so if he's popular to some people, I apologize, but we'll have to see him firsthand. But Virtus Pro, surprisingly, had a really good opener with the Murana. Obviously, there are tons of different heroes to put in the pool. Actually, 4 pairing support heroes get banned out. Earthshaker, Bane, Skywrath, and Wraith King we've all seen paired with Murana. But because Virtus Pro gets the second pick and the first pick in Phase 2, they're able to not only ban out the Bane, which would have been great for Alliance, but pick up the Shadow Demon for themselves. So I really like the ability to draft on the flop in these kind of circumstances where essentially you know they're going to be banning out supports. They know they don't want to feel the grip of the Murana in the early game, but if they're doing that, you can just play that game. Ban out the supports, limit their pool, and they're going to have to go with the Rubik here, whether they like it or not.
Yeah, It's not really the ideal hero of this game, but it's pretty much all they've got left is sort of a ranged laning support that is some prowess, and well, we'll see what they follow this Rubik pick up with. There's still some good heroes that can be run as supports out there. I'd say Jakiro's a big one to keep an eye on for the combination with the Chrono. Witch Doctor also in the mix. We'll see what Alliance plans for. If they want to go for more team fight, there's also things like Sand King still in the pool. So I think there's still plenty of good heroes for Alliance, but definitely not as many extremely powerful laning stage style supports left at this point.
And I think that's really important because we saw the Leshrac Shadow Demon roaming combo from the previous game. Obviously, neither team was involved in that, but we know what can happen in an early game stage if there's just kill after kill with a very deadly ganking combo. And Shadow Demon Murana, where they played it a lot in the Game Show League, Jodam was just absolutely dominant, defined the games, and Alliance are going to have to pull out something big to respond to it. I would almost like to see like an Abaddon alongside the Rubik to try to counterplay, like to try to countergank, and I would feel it's very warranted because, like I said, I feel that Jodam's Murana is one of the best in the business.
Yeah, but it's also one of those heroes that sometimes you just don't have openings, you know, so then you go into the mid-game and you struggle, and with G's Tinker being banned out, VP will go for a Templar Assassin. Having already picked up the Razor, they kind of protect this pick. I think that's one of the big reasons why we just don't see TAs right now, is there's just so much goddamn Razor and Viper. And those two heroes just destroy TA, but Death Prophet actually not that great against her. She's okay later on when she gets Exorcism, but can't really shut TA down in the lane, which is normally where you want to keep her off the creeps and keep her on the back foot. So they get some minus armor for Roshan. VP, very single target heavy, not too much control, and a couple of these heroes really vulnerable to the Chronosphere. The Shadow Demon, who can't afford to get caught, needs to get a good defensive disruption. TA, pretty much a melee range carry, so this could be a big game, and I'm wondering who's going to play this Void. Is this a Loda Void, or are we going to see an Admiral Bulldog offlane Void?
Yeah, I mean, either case, there's a lot of potency, but we'll see if they want to go a little bit greedier and get the tri-core of item-dependent heroes. So obviously, in that case, Bulldog would be picking it up, and it seems how confident they are in the mid-game, and breaching into the late game would be the question there. They're up against a lot of early aggression heroes. Templar Assassin could snowball really hard. Razor obviously isn't the hardest hero to keep tempo with, so yeah, I would have to say that if they want to avoid feeling really, really weak in the early to mid game, they need to probably just say, Bulldog, take that to the off lane and do what you can. And honestly, like with 1000 MS, when you're inside the chrono, you're able to dodge arrows pretty well. As long as you hit the Shadow Demon with every single one, you should be able to make a pretty huge impact, and they can couple it here with the Witch Doctor. So go for the Aghanim Scepter on the Void, go for the Aghanim Scepter on the Witch Doctor, and just try to win fights by pressing the Dark key.
Yeah, it's a very scary combo, and the one thing that concerns me for VP is they don't have many ways to cancel a Witch Doctor ult. There's an arrow, and there's a disruption. And that's it. We'll see if they get a little bit more with this final pick. And they are looking most likely at an offlaner here, which opens up their options to something like a Doom. Batrider already banned out, but if they want a hero that can kind of lock down a Void and punish him, then Doom would be a choice, though. Still, they're lacking in like AoE control. So if they want to go a different route, there's Tidehunter. But Rubik is obviously great versus him. Void still matches up pretty well, and yeah, I'm not sure for VP what direction they want to take. It's actually the Centaur banned out, but Dire Centaur without... Well, I guess he'd have support from Shadow Demon and Mirana.
Yeah, and he could blink over the Chrono and stuff like that. Like, I would love to see a Clockwork play against Witch Doctors in general, but the problem is Hook doesn't go through Chronosphere. You go to the edge of it, you get stuck. So if Clock found himself on the opposite side of the Chrono, there's no way that he would interrupt the Witch Doctor ulti. Like, you'd have to actually run like a Blink Dagger Clockwork, and that just doesn't make much sense. So they're going to go with the Tide. Great on the Dire side. Works well with the negative armor strat in general. Like, you get the Eye of the Storm, Meld Strike, and Gush. You get some early Roche potential, as well as some great synergy with the Soul Catcher to just blow people up. So we have pretty low armor on DP, Rubik, and Witch Doctor, and they're going to feel it hurt pretty quick.
Yeah, this will come down to Alliance just warding off the Ancients, though, and we'll have to see if VP are able to win the ward game. They have a good roaming duo, and they'll end this draft with a Slark. So, a hero that matches up well against TA, and I wonder if they'll actually send the Slark mid, or if they'll just look to punish the TA later on, but for now, Chessie pick up the Death Prophet, and it will be a Loda Slark. So, get the Dark Pact, they get some really good control, and VP, very little lockdown for a Slark. This is a big Slark game. The one hero that can give him issues is Razor, but outside of that, I'm feeling like Loda could have a very explosive performance.
Good, but I mean, there's some answers. I mean, the Anchor Smash is pretty annoying for him since he gets most of his damage from the Stolen Agility. As well, there's the defensive disruption from the Shadow Demon, and you're not going to be able to burn through a Templar Assassin without at least getting a couple of seconds to charge up that Dark Pact of yours. Very good to burn down through the refraction, but it's not as instantaneous as you might like it to be to just pick somebody off real quick, in and out type play. So we'll see. Maybe the Templar Assassin player will be able to wait for the Dark Pact, then use the refraction, and from that point be able to kind of go toe-to-toe with them. Either way, it really comes down to execution. Movement across the map, early usage of the ultimates, because for both these teams, if they let the game snowball a little bit, there might not actually be a late game. Like, it really comes down to the first few fights, whether or not one team's going to have the edge.
Yeah, we'll see. And the thing is that the Slark does get off to a good start, though. VP have nothing to control him. There's no Bloodseeker, there's no Doom, and there's minimal burst damage. And generally that's what you want to see if you're up against Slark, is either burst or hard silences and lockdown, and they have neither. So even if he's not killing the TA, with a good start, Loda could, I think, almost single-handedly carry this game. But we'll see if he gets that kind of a start. And for now, we'll introduce our teams. Alliance needing a win here to stay in the hunt for a playoff spot at the LAN Finals in Kiev. They've looked iffy ever since their roster changes. Haven't quite had the resounding success of Secret Team, one of the other big roster shuffles. And Even Taker has had, overall, at least in Starladder, the better results thus far. So with a stand-in here for Ake to go with Misery and Chessie, we'll have to see if they can put it together. And with that, introducing them, we've got Loda playing the Slark. Key will be standing in for Ake on the Witch Doctor Misery. He's basically an unofficial member, it feels like, right now in the Rubik. Chessie going solo mid as the Death Prophet, and that leaves the Bulldog. Hasn't actually bought anything yet. He'll go for the Boots Tango and heads back to the well to pick them up on the Void. Meanwhile, on the side of VP, Yol will be playing your Shadow Demon. That puts Jadam onto the Marana, already dropping down an Observer Ward. But this one was spotted out, and everybody pinning wildly. Well, we have Sadoy playing the Tidehunter heading bottom. G will be going mid as your Templar Assassin. And that leaves BZZ on the safe lane Razor.
There's a lot of possible waste of time here if Jadam just thinks that he's perfectly fine, perfectly hidden in his current position. They have a lot of vision into the mid lane, and they're actually going to get counter-ganked on pretty hard here. They don't have the option to skill the leap. Jadam already skilled the arrow. He knows what he wants to accomplish, but now they're being pinned in a little bit. We get the telekinesis, and no leap means an easy first blood.
Cask is there. The follow-up will come, and Jadam's bottom bites the dust. That's just unfortunate. Honestly, you do see this ward, but you generally don't see teams rush to put a ward like that down. We've seen teams much more focused on defending their own jungle, going for level 1 smoke ganks, and honestly, nowadays, that's just not a very common move, and it's just called VP off guard.
Yeah. Now, the ultimate BM would be after they caught off Jadam's bottom, if they typed in all chat, got him, and then, I don't know. At this point, I'm subjected to rhyming. Just I don't know what to do anymore with all these back-to-back casts. Man, this has been awkward. Actually, the smoke. Oh, this is brutal.
Misery. Oh, he got off the lift. Arrow's got a hit, and Jadam doesn't even get to throw it. Got the disruption. Nice. Really? Barely got a range for that one. Managed to run down the Rubik, and they'll get the kill here. Yeah, Yol has the boots first. Okay, that's how he got a range. I was gonna say Shadow Demon is not faster than Rubik normally, but in that case, he's able to connect.
A little faster. He's like 5 ms faster, but not like dramatically so.
Yeah, okay. That's true.
Up on the top lane, even if they just leave this as a 1v1 lane, the supports do not have to help the Razor here. BZZ has a perfectly fine lane against Bulldog. He's going to have to use Time Walk every time the static link comes out, and one certainly costs a lot less mana than the other. So a very soon Faceless Void won't be able to farm much at all, and Admiral Bulldog is essentially zoned out as much as he would be if the supports were involved. But yeah, Misery, he does go for the D ward here. They were occupying a lot of time there. He got caught out, and he realizes they probably do have that ward down and are going to be able to take care of it. So we're going to look at bottom, and this is where the action is going to ensue. Witch Doctor being the prime target here.
Yeah, and Key is going for a pull right now, but they're actually going towards the tower, looking for Loda, and this will be spotted out, so a bit of a missed opportunity. And they're not even going to get much of a push going. Just a single creep wave. They can farm this stack. They'll drop an Observer Ward to block the pull camp, and they'll take a bit of experience here, but not quite the explosive start VP was hoping for. Just getting a single kill, getting dewarded, and giving up first blood. And now Misery will do a self-smoke, picking up an invis. Well, that's going to be a short-lived one. Walks right into the tree.
Well, I mean, you're not really going to get much accomplished with the self-smoke, honestly. Like, it might have been a warding type smoke, but in that opportunity, like, you'll get a couple of... You might be able to put them into the creep wave, so the refraction gets burned off by the creeps, but even then, G should be able to get out alive in most cases there. Anyways, on the top lane, we're going to see Admiral Bulldog does have brown boots. As we said, he started with them, but the phase boots advantage for Razor means he's still going to be able to do so much. I'm thinking that right now the...
Arrow bottom lane. Caught out Key. Down goes the Witch Doctor again. Disruption from Yol, and the follow-up was there. Sadoy will bully Loda a bit off the lane. But yeah, we have more action bottom, and another kill going the way of VP.
Yep, and yeah, Loda trying to man up a little bit, but not really going to get too much accomplished there. We see an interesting back and forth as we do see Bulldog go for this stacked up side pull. So the Radiant creeps are getting taken down quickly, and it will give kind of a free wave to Bulldog. He's almost like playing Lone Druid in this kind of position where he gets to like manipulate the creep wave, tank up a few shots here, and then he just puts it right exactly where he wants it. So this is very Bulldog-esque. He has done that with a lot of offlaners, but usually he requires some creeps to micro for it. In this case, just taking advantage of the neutrals.
Yeah, Bulldog is getting punished here by BZZ. He's still getting decent CS, all things considered, but as expected, he's not going to win the lane. And it'll be up to the rest of the team to make up for it. Another smoke, this one from Jadam and Yol, moving towards the mid lane as a tandem. Arrow's ready. They've got boots on both heroes. Level 3 about to come out for Jottam. Courier is now upgraded, though, so they won't be able to courier snipe, but they may get this kill. If Chessie stays at the ramp a second or two longer, he's done for. Disruption. Arrow perfectly timed. Yep, they're right on the money, and Chessie will go down. A kill for G, and no. Meanwhile, bottom lane. There's a leap in from Loda. They'll pull Sadoy back in, but he's pretty tanky here. Anchor Smash level 2. And he can't get the kill.
There's an interesting decision for Chessie to go for a magic wand recipe and a magic stick instead of a TP scroll. If the supports don't pull him a scroll, he's going to have a long walk back to lane. Yeah, he's just going to hoof it. So they lose out on the DD rune. Jottam's going to pick that up, and he is just walking all the way back to lane. So as far as experience goes, Templar Assassin's going to pull massively ahead. Already had a good CS lead and actually had 12 denies, but you add those denies on top of the time out of lane, and yeah, this Death Prophet is going to have a really rough time. Like, even considering stacking the jungle to try to catch up.
Arrow came through and didn't connect. Loda now picking up a Belt of Giant Strength, just going for as much base HP as he can to live through the initial jump with the Arrow disruption, and he's getting closer to his level 6, at which point he can start to turn this one. And I do like Slark as a hero to hunt Mirana in the mid game. Can't leap out of the tether, or not the tether, what do you even call it? The leash. So it's a pretty powerful ganking tool at Loda's side. Well, meanwhile, top lane, look at the aggression for BZZ. He's forced the void of Bulldog so far back, but still Bulldog getting his levels, man. He's got Chronosphere soon.
Yeah, but I mean, we'll see if he's actually going to be willing to buy TPs for himself to actually rotate and use it, or if he's going to have the mana using all these time walks. But in either case, the big issue here is mid lane. Honestly, like, if the top lane Bulldog gets his 6, that's okay. But Chessie falling this far behind is really bad. Sadoy actually considering going for a bit of a dive here.
Is he going for this? Oh, they might go for it. They've got vision. Arrow. Oh. No, it nails Loda. He didn't have a Dark Peg ready. Gosh, Anchor Smash down, and this is going to give Tidon level 6. They've got Ravage. Yeah, 2 heroes caught out. Does he want to blow it? Maybe not. They're drawing the creep wave off, and they're going to go for it with this new creep wave. Oh, maybe not. They'll retreat.
I think they could. Shoot one more arrow, one more Ravage. Easy kill.
Bulldog can't get to the tower. He needs to get a TP scroll to come help out this bottom lane, but
exactly.
In the end, he just can't do it because the lane's constantly pushed in by BZZ. He'll have to ferry one with the Courier. Meanwhile, it's up to Chessie. He'll head up here with the Haster and BZZ. If he doesn't back off right this second, probably going down. Yeah, there's your Chrono. Exorcism as well. They'll throw out a Crypt Swarm and they'll melt the Razor down. And they might even let a push. Kill him off before Yol can get in range for a disruption. And in the end, the rotation comes in for more. Templar Assassin with the trap.
He didn't see the haste fast enough, I guess.
Well, disruption. But Chessie just runs the other way. He'll bring down the Shadow Demon. A Crypt Swarm's there to find him, and G just can't chase down anyone. So they force out the double TP. They still get a double kill. Not just the one they were hoping for, but a little bit more as they catch out Jottam mid lane. He has no leap anymore. Loda doesn't have a leap either, but he'll just run him down. Might get turned on, though. The Razor rejoins the fight and just respawn in time to punish Loda. So in the end, still a victory there for Alliance, killing off the Razor top lane and forcing out all those TPs from VP, but at least they get a bit of a trade on the Slark of Loda.
Yeah, I think the misplay was on the side of Virtus.pro as a whole. They didn't see this haste rune get picked up. He must have picked it up very, very quickly on the top rune spawn right at the 6-minute mark because they seemed surprised that he could move that fast, and Yol wouldn't have positioned himself that quickly if he had realized how threatening that was. But either way, now on the mid lane, it's going to be BZZ since he made that nice TP rotation to bring down Slark. He might as well farm the lane while he's here, and that's going to give an opening for their third smoke. Jottam and Yol making their way around.
Yeah, no more smokes for 3 minutes, and after that, it's going to be a solid 10-minute wait for them. So they got to make this one count. Yol and Jottam moving up the ramp as a tandem, but Misery is here to greet them and dispel it, and he'll back off. Radiant Observer Ward did get vision of this as he revealed the smoke on Yol from around the tree line. Still, they're going to push in, though. They've got Ravage ready to go. And Loda is hanging back. Still waiting for the Slark to really be an impact hero this game, to be honest. Poison now, scouting out, and Key's trapped. Loda's trapped. He'll leap to the right, sacrificing his buddy. There's Ravage ready, but no, they're not even going to need to blow this one. Easy kill on Key, and no trade in sight. Alliance are just getting run over right now. They now trail by 4k gold. 3k experience.
Yol's going to get 5 poison stacks up on Loda, but it doesn't really matter that much because it's only poison. They need to get more damage.
It matters, man. It matters, man. It matters indeed.
Well, as long as they get follow-up damage, but by itself, it's still a very weak spell at level 1. Like it's incredible the multiplier. Oh look, what was on the ground there?
Did he kill off? Oh, no, I think it was the boots. Did he pick it back up in time? Not actually sure. Misery being chased out. Marana finishes him off, and meanwhile, G trying to turn this one onto Chessie. Meld Strike, one more auto attack, he needs 2 more. Can't get the second one. Now the leap in the turn, and with Dark Pact here, no refraction mana for G. They'll drop low, but they can't finish him off. Crypt Swarm, just barely out of range. Almost barking at his heels, but not enough to connect. And yeah, so Death Prophet has her bottle phase boots. I think it was the Null Talisman drop down to use the bottle more efficiently.
Yeah, he picked it up, whatever it was, so, I mean, no loss there, but they take the bottom tier 1. There's going to be gold momentum for Virtus Pro as a whole, and that's going to make it so BZZ has just a lot to back himself up. We see he's actually going for Basilia, so the probably Aqua will build up on top of the mechanism. He's got plenty of item slots, so he can pick up something that's a little cheap in order to just continue this momentum.
Now the rotation from Yol and Jadam heading towards the middle lane, but they won't find anything, aside from their own courier. Basilius is there for BZZ now on the courier, and probably going to be delivered soon as they march towards mid. Loda is just chilling in the trees. God, this Slark is having an awful game right now. Like, you run a Slark, you want him to ideally be the one getting these kills, and they'll prep with Moonlight Shadow to go in. Loda's still in the trees, but this is not a smoke gank. This Moonlight Shadow is not going to reveal them. Dark Pacting, and now looking to jump in, but BZZ's in Viz right now. He's got a mech ready to go. I think they're going to fight this. They've got to... Oh, they don't have Tide. Tide's coming, though. They've got the TA in them in position to try and force it. And Misery's only level 4. If they want, they could dive. Slark, caught out. Loda forced to... Arrow coming through. Oh, almost got him. Now the trap, and the dive begins in earnest. Blake, Ravage on 2. Plasma Field hitting for basically max damage on Chessie, forcing him off the fight. The rest of the team in pursuit, they'll gush, but I don't know if they can get this kill. He's pretty fast. Yeah, with the trap from G, they can. He's got a Blink too. The meld, the double trap. The chase is on. No more mana for a gush, but the anchors, the boots are cooling down. So he'll have an arcane boot soon. Yep. Arrow, dodged by Chessie, but there's another Blink. There's nowhere for him to go. He's just stalling here. And he will delay the push mid, but it ends up going down. Well, meanwhile, mid lane, Bulldog goes in the Chronosphere. It's just any kill they can get, they'll take at this point. Fade Bolt's already been used, but they'll manage barely to collect the kill on Yol. Still, though, the push comes in mid. The mech's up. Arrow flying forth. Not going to hit Bulldog. Creepwave blocked it. But meanwhile, G got top lane, got Loda. Solo killed the Slark. How did that happen?
It shouldn't, but there you go. The Blink initiation just catching him off guard, and maybe he blocked the pounce. That's the only thing I can think of. He didn't have his ultimate, so that's a prime factor.
He couldn't use the ult to retreat. That's the one issue, I guess.
And if you look at Slark's items right now, he's actually only sitting on 2 armor. When he does steal the Essence Shift, he actually isn't that physically great in mitigation. So, yeah, jumping on him, getting the Meld Strike, and blocking the pounce is all you really need to do there. And G plays him like a fiddle. So, very well played. Now the Roche is theirs for the taking. Without a Chronosphere, there is no way Alliance breach this pit. They don't have much mana on G, though. That's the only issue. They'll wait for the spawn. Is it bottom? Lucky. Illusion will come out for G.
Yeah, not the best rune, but just any rune to refill his bottle will be nice, and he'll head down to collect that. He's now got max meld, almost the level 11, so we'll see him walk into the pit and quickly work on this Roshan. In terms of Chronosphere, 50 seconds to go for Bulldog Arena. Unfortunately, it's the first Chrono level point, or the first point in Chronosphere, so it's got the full 2-minute cooldown to worry about, and well, VP are not going in. Maybe they're just worried about the other team fight. But end of the day, it's going to be hard for Witch Doctor to get off his ult.
Yeah, I mean, they have Arrow, they have Shadow Poison Disruption. They're baiting on the mid lane. I guess that helps, but they could have gone.
Chessie dropping low. They can't finish him off, though. A nice cask will allow them to disengage. Retreating and buying time for Bulldog's Chrono to cool down. But he needs a Mask of Madness to make something happen during that Chronosphere. For himself, anyway. If they get a nice Witch Doctor ult, maybe. Though there are 3 ways to cancel it, so...
Yeah.
Still pretty reliant on the Chronosphere.
I still think that was a window. Without the Chrono, they could have easily gone for the Roche, and it's much more valuable than a tier 1 at this stage.
And they do have the mech as well. Like, their team fight is already stronger, even without Ravage, which they now have. Sadoi's ready to jump in. He just throws it from the high ground. Why did he blink? Not really sure. I'm not sure if
he either messed up or he didn't see Chessie. Now the case.
Chrono onto 4. Perfect setup from Admiral Bulldog. Did VP just throw their lead? They might have lost it here. This is going to be difficult to fight their way out. G dropping pretty quickly to Loda. Tethered and leashed under the tower. Will end up going down while the Razor steals a lot of damage from Chessie. The Ghosts are not doing anything because of Moonlight Shadow. That's max damage stolen. But no one to follow it up. 30 heroes down the drain. The Ravage used up. Missed opportunity with the Roche. But then an even bigger fail mid lane.
Yeah. That's unfortunate. They need to just, like, the Chessie could have been a focus target there. If they just blinked with the Ravage, I think Tia could have followed up nicely, and he just dies with, like, 3 or 4 hits with that big Melt Strike. But in this case, they are just looking at Tier 1. They're looking for something simple. They dove deep, they got greedy, and yeah, the timing would obviously close very quickly with that second Chronosphere.
Fate Bolt on the mid lane. And they'll mech and try to force this one anyway, knowing the Chronos are cooldown. They still have the mech advantage at least, but it's a slow progress here as Razor doesn't have any stolen damage right now. Arrow coming out, and they'll get the last hit on the tower. Won't connect with the arrow, but maybe they go into the pit now. Now they have a little bit more map control. It's right around the Rosy bottom lane as G tries to pursue out Chessie, but can't quite find him. This Radiant Courier, though, no dire vision of it. It'll make its way out.
So they're just going to plant some wards down, kind of see the enemy coming, and try to prevent them from engaging at that point in time. But for those that don't know how really ridiculously easy Roshan is for the side of Virtus Pro, they've got the Refraction, which will take 6 auto attacks from Roche. They've got the Meld Strike, which reduces the armor of Roche for by 8 for the full, like, he can keep it up constantly. And they also have the Medallion on Jotum, so reducing that by 6, they're going to be able to, with this Meld Strike, bring it down to -8 armor, and you just see how fast it drops. This is something they could have gone for a little bit earlier, but better late than never. They will pick it up, and it's going to be Aegis going to the Templar Assassin. So they can try to defend up top. Have to be careful, as there is a spell steal. There is a
top lane. He jumps in, but the Witch Doctor is waiting for him. He doesn't have backup yet. He'll end up losing his Aegis. Can they win on the second round of the fight? Key's ult still going. BZZ forced back. They've got mech ready now, and they start to steal Lotus damage, but it's not for very long as G leaps in, trying to hunt down this Witch Doctor. Can they at least get the support Witch Doctor? Not even that. A completely blown Aegis. And they didn't even get the tower deny. Arrow, maybe with this. No, not even that. Alliance just completely outplaying and outmaneuvering VP in these fights. Man, they had a huge lead. That was an 8k gold lead before that first fight that went poorly mid lane, and the graphs are slowly starting to tip back in the Swedes' direction now. I guess they're not. Are they all Swedes now? I guess not.
I mean, I know Chessie is, and he was the newest switch. Misery is not, though. He's Danish, right?
Yeah, I think so. So they're close, but yeah, not quite, I guess. And I have no idea about the stand-up.
Yeah. He's a key.
No. Alliance showing some signs of life. They also get the Mask of Madness on Bulldog, which gives him quite a bit of solo kill potential here. Jotum is an easy solo kill. Yol is an easy solo kill. And, well, G, he'll need some backup to bring down. The Tidehunter will need a little backup, I think, but yeah, this gives them a much better opportunity to actually get a ward their own Secret Shop. Very unusual ward, but they did see these heroes moving up the ramp, and, well, with this Observer Ward, I should say, as it expires now. Very
You can actually get a lot of good arrows off from this general area, so I think that's actually pretty perfect for this time frame. I mean, they might not find value in it a little bit later, but it's still a flank to gank they have to avoid.
The push continues. Looks like VP will collect a tier 1 top lane. And don't get the last hit on it, but well, the dire creeps will do their work.
Yeah, Death Prophet's farming mud golems right now. I feel like they should really be rallying so that Loda's the only one that has to TP. Gets the TP scroll out on the courier, and I honestly think they have a good chance here with the Mask of Madness up on the Void. If they get as good a Chronosphere as they got last time, it should be a nice win for Alliance to try to bring them back in, but we'll see.
The main issue is going to be if they don't catch this tide and Sidoi just blinks over the Chrono and Ravages, then it can all fall apart. But he's not. He's now made his way into the trees. And Alliance don't have a great lineup to get vision of this, so he may well get that great jump. Bulldog working towards his Maelstrom next, and the siege is slow and steady from VP. Very slow, I might add. Chrono, it's there on 2. The arrow comes forth, they're waiting, and the Ravage goes instantly, canceling the ultimate of Key. But do they have the follow-up to win this fight afterwards? It's a perfect Ravage, but I'm not sure if it's a perfect fight for them anyway. Bulldog on the chase, and they only stole an Anchor Smash here, but in the end, they still get the TA. They hold the line, and now Loda chases, looking for a kill. Arrow, that'll be dodged, and Jotum continues his retreat. Sidoi slowly taking out the Ghost. One more Crypt Swarm. The Ghost finish him off. BZZ looking for Chessie, but the Ghosts are going to return soon. God has to kill him soon. Plasma Field, not in time. The Ghosts are back. BZZ's dead. It's 3 that are going to fall. Make it 4 with the Razor's death. And Alliance complete the wipe, killing off the Shadow Demon on the end of the engagement. Oh, what a mess. This is... Is it safe to call this a throw, Blaze? I think this is a throw.
At this stage, I mean, obviously we'll have to see how far it goes and if they actually do end up losing the game based on this, but they had such an advantage and they gave up it completely unnecessarily. So yeah, by definition, a throw, and we'll see if they can kind of take it back. Right now, it's been drawn to even. Alliance are able to take a fight quite clearly with the Void having the Mask of Madness, and soon enough they'll be able to deal with the Ravage a little bit more directly. Maybe get a blink on Rubik to make it easier to try to go for the spell steal, and yeah, be able to position the Witch Doctor a little bit more carefully because they'll see him coming.
The sad part was that was perfect counter initiation.
Yeah.
Like, absolutely perfect. 5-man Ravage by Sadoy the second that the Witch Doctor ult started. And they still lost the fight. That's really concerning.
The damage is gone. I mean, G is their big damage piece, and even though they get the Ravage out, he still died by the time he could actually act. So the double damage Templar Assassin doing 0% damage in the team fight really would tip the scales there.
I'm not sure if this BKB is going to accomplish anything this game. He's up against Chrono, Witch Doctor ult, which is physical, Death Prophet ult, which is physical, and even the Slark's right clicks later on this game will be his main source of damage. And I still think if he gets Chrono with BKB, he probably dies anyway.
Yeah. But you gotta think the worst case scenario, man. He's up against Ravage too, if Misery's on point, so maybe I'll get it for that.
Yeah, I mean, there is some magic damage, the Crypt Swarm, the Fade Bolt. It's not like an awful item choice, but I just think they need Burst. They just need to be able to quickly gun a hero down and prevent Alliance from getting that 5-man team fight. Because at the end of the day, Alliance has the better 5-man team fight. That's not really debatable.
It's kind of just going back to the old build. When you go Blink, you usually go BKB alongside it. There's not much value this time around unless the Rubik steals aren't insane, but it's still going to be giving him enough durability that if he can dodge Chrono, for example, he can do a ton of work.
Loda hiding to the side as G will farm up the Radiant neutrals, but not going in just yet. Now he's been revealed and he leaps in. He finds Yol to start this. Defensive disruption will be needed. Chronosphere's there, but it only catches out Jotum. Not the best Chrono by any means. Then the counter initiation, Ravage from Sadoy, nearly killing off Loda to start this fight. One more right click, he leaps away in time. Can't get the kill while G pursues Misery, but he's stolen Refraction, so can't get that kill either. As Bulldog leaps away, they get 2 kills, then they scatter to the winds. BZZ dropping low, desperately trying to finish off Chessie. Don't tell me these ghosts are going to come back and save him again. G says, hell no. You're going down. We're getting something for this. So they get the Death Prophet. They lose the 2 supports. Fairly even exchange in the end. Pretty even, I would say.
Slurk should have gone down there, but he had that magic wand that healed him up for like 280 HP, or 225 with the large amount of charges he had on it. So despite all the Shadow Poison hitting him directly, it just wasn't enough to bring him down. And him slipping through the fight, living through a fight, and getting to level 11 now, he's going to actually start becoming a real threat. He'll get tanky, and the longer the fight goes on, the more stats he's going to steal. And Virtus Pro are, generally speaking, a pretty stat-reliant lineup.
Yeah. They have to be perfect with their fights. I mean, honestly, that's the scary part is if they ever lose their Tide or their TA or their Raze, like if any of these heroes just die in a Chrono, game's pretty much over. But, well, not game, but the fight. Potentially the game.
Yeah, I mean, the way things are moving, they have to be much more cautious. I mean, they were by far in the lead, even after feeding the first blood. But in this position, the Roche advantage is the only thing that really gives me confidence in their potential to continue the mid-game. But for right now, the Chronosphere is up, and he's going to use it right onto Jotum.
Chrono, and then a solo kill in the Mirana. Sorry, I was all tab checking Skype. Thought we had some technical issues, but seems everything's fine with the stream, so apologies for showing up late to that kill, guys, but...
Spoiler, he Chronosphered, he Mask of Madness, and he right-clicked the support Mirana.
Yeah. Important missed action, though. They'll purge Chessie mid lane, and there's no Chrono now for this fight, but he's too tanky. And he'll force the Razor off immediately. BZZ, not as scary as he was earlier. And once again, G has a haste. But what does he do with it? He runs the hell away. When Exorcism's up, not even the Razor is tanky enough to stand against Chessie, it seems. And that's with Chrono down. Like, you'd think that's the time for VP to fight. Unfortunately, Ravage is also cooling down. But you look at Sadoy, and he is getting close to a Refresher Orb. This could be the item that turns a blaze. Brings them that extra wave of momentum as Bulldog jumps in mid. He doesn't have his... He's really confident to go in here, considering he doesn't have Chrono. Loda will join him, though. The leap misses. And now Loda's got it back. The Melt Strike bringing him down below half HP. He'll heal this off. While they are pushing in the bottom lane in the meantime. And Rubik has stolen Plasma Field. pretty decent nuke for Misery to grab. This will allow him to deep push nicely bottom lane.
It also makes it so Sodoi can't hide in the trees the same exact way. He has to go for a different plan of attack. He is kind of going around here now that it's nighttime and looking for a way to jump from high ground to low. But seeing no real threats directly, he's just going to kind of provide a buffer zone with his body. But yeah, the Refresher Orb is going to be a pretty big game changer if it can come out. He's obviously been rushing it quite clearly and will have enough mana with the double Arcanes and a little help from the team. But yeah, I don't know. They need more behind them. The BKB will come out soon enough on the Slark, and at least partially it will be nullified. And maybe Chessie can get the defensive Yules. Actually, the double Ravage is really the only reason why Death Prophet shouldn't go for Ghost Scepter here. Otherwise, it would be actually amazing against Virtus.pro's lineup.
Mid lane, there's a Chronosphere, but defensive disruption from Yol was quicker. And Bulldog just has to back. Man, what a play. Got that one off before the Chrono even landed. That is a very small window. Chrono it has a slight wind up with the animation, but it's not a long one by any means. And with Chrono down, this is a good time for VP. If they want to pick a fight, the last time Chrono was down, they didn't have Ravage. This time they do. And that's where Alliance should probably just be looking to split push and dodge and play keep away Dota.
Yep. So they're just gonna move forward. It looks like BZZ is gonna be going for BKB too. Like it looked at like the Ags, and I think he wants them to think it's the Ags, but he's gonna be going for a BKB at the same time. That's it. Like we said, it's an interesting decision for the TA to go with and to add it on. It really feels like they're afraid of Rubik. Like they think that Misery can make a huge play happen, and with the Blink Dagger, it's certainly true, but all the same.
Yeah, he could definitely make a play happen. If you're relying so heavily on your double Ravage, I suppose that keeping him as your focal point is not a bad idea. But there's other heroes you have to worry about this game. I mean, honestly, it's the Witch Doctor, Death Prophet, Void that's really the meat of Alliance's lineup. Like, if you can shut one of those heroes down, then I think you've got a decent chance winning the team fight. And they'll look for the Aegis now. G has scouted this out. He's quite poor, though. Just this BKB and still no damage items for him. But we need to see VP take this Aegis and do something with it. Like, the last Aegis was completely wasted. They're going to have a Refresher untied around the time this Aegis is taken. And the only question is, if Alliance look to contest this one, Chronosphere is online. I think they're going to. They're moving towards the pit, potentially. One hero for now. Just rotating up. Chessie is getting close to position, but if they want to go in, they got to do it soon. They're farming a creep camp. Are they going or not? They're kind of hesitant
I don't think
here.
so.
Seemed like they wanted to group for it, but then they just kind of back off.
Yeah, it's a really difficult prospect. Even though they've gotten a couple of good fights, it's so easy to make one small misstep. Like they're actually winning. They're getting a little bit of luck and a little bit of outplay every time they engage right now, and it has been good for the past couple of fights. But that doesn't mean they can guarantee that they're going to take a fight. That doesn't mean they have the automatic advantage. They're really afraid of what VP bring right now in general. One good arrow, really good Ravage, and they're going to be back to square one from all this hard-fought income. But they do get the BKB up on load. It's going to be instrumental against that Refresher, which is now coming out on the Courier. And yeah, as far as mana costs go, he's going to have to keep his Ravage at level 2 for a little bit here. But it is only a, 450 mana cost for that. And then obviously the Orb is just under 500, so...
Yeah, and Refresher now picked up. That's the big item. We'll see. We'll see them probably look to force a fight soon with the Aegis. Trap on the mid lane. They'll gush Misery. He tries to TP out. Meld Strike. 2 more clicks. Well, just one and Anchor Smash enough to secure the kill. By the way, another item pickup I want to point out is the Blink on Yol. I was going to mention for defensive purposes, but as the Purge goes on to Loda, can't be Dark Pacted off. He's just slowed down for a long time. They continue to chase, stealing his damage, melding, and they'll finish him off, keeping the vision from the static Link. But yeah, this Blink is... I wasn't even thinking about it offensively, but defensively this is so good against Chronosphere. And it allows you to just sit incredibly far back as Shadow Demon, wait for the Chrono, and then blink in. Probably the TA will be the one that they need to protect, as G is still the most vulnerable core on this team, and this could really break the game open for VP. This plus the double Ravage. Chessie is trying to split push top lane, and so I will gush him here. Perhaps waiting for the Exorcism Band and then preparing to jump in, but has to be worried about the defensive Yules juking out a spell or two, and won't end up going for it. As Alliance pick up their second BKB. Chessie now acquiring his. And Bulldog working on the third, so they're going to have triple BKB. And traditionally this is the Ravage counter, mass magic immunity, but There's always those situations where BKBs are cooling down, or they don't pop them in time. They just get caught by a smoke or a insta-blink. And if you jump right next to them, the Ravage is much harder to dodge, so... Not to mention, potentially waiting out the BKB durations, although that will be hard with all these being fairly fresh.
So, moving forward, of course, Tiagen, the Butterfly, and the Witch Doctor, I don't know. He's got a long road to go. They need a couple more really big fights, and they need a big steal. But for now, it's just going to be the Plasma Field and the single Chrono. Going to be enough to bring down BZZ and buy them some time.
Yeah, he goes down. Meanwhile, the Blink Brothers, or the Leap and the Blink Brother, I suppose, Jadam retreats on the Mirana, Yol blinks to the right, and everybody makes their way out. Alliance should not be pushing this too hard. They're up against the double Ravage, and there is a Glyph available. VP not going to defend their tier 1, though. They want to save that for a more important objective. And they were bringing Sedoyan, although he actually trapped himself in the trees, I think. Got a little overzealous on the blink in, and maybe that's why they didn't try to defend it. He couldn't get there in time.
So, right now, the only real weakness for Alliance is that Chessie is so squishy to physical damage, and that puts just a lot of emphasis on G getting some more farm. Going for the Butterfly quite clearly, but you can follow that up with a Daedalus, Desolator, a lot of different really good positive things, and obviously the Razor will eventually have the Ags too. So, at this point, like, I won't feel that Alliance have a really good handle in this game until Slark's able to farm up like a full Scotty on top of the BKB.
Yeah, he is just... Aloda is just so poor. Like, that bottom lane was just a disaster for Alliance, and he's 2-6. It's not even... It's just he hasn't been able to do much at all this game. Like, hasn't gotten the farm, hasn't really been able to find kills, and to be honest, VP are... with them getting an early lead, it became very hard for Slark to do anything. Mirana is a potential solo kill, but he always had Yol by his side, so there's the defensive disruption. Sedoy's too tanky to bring down. Razor really matches up great against the Slark 1v1, and the TAFG would require a +1, which he never really had. And as a result, Loda's been completely shut down by VP. He's been a non-factor for them this game. And they still have potential to win these fights. That's how scary their team fight is. Even with a Slark that just can't really get too involved at this stage.
Yeah.
Interesting pickup from G. He's gone for a Butterfly. Not something we really see too often against Death Prophet and Void. Chronosphere to remove evasion. Not to mention the Ghosts that ignore it, but it does give him some attack speed, and if he can live through the Chrono, then he'll be a little bit hard to deal with in these upcoming engagements.
It doesn't dodge Death Ward, does it?
I don't think so.
I didn't think so either. So, yeah, he's going to be able to tank up Tower, tank up Roshan a little bit more, but we're going to see a lot of jungle play coming up, actually.
Sedoy, little does he know just how close he is to Bulldog and Chessie. Everybody's going to jump into the trees now. The key here...
He's not close to this. This is interesting where the Razor is right now. What the hell? This is going to clash, and he's not going to be there?
Oh, Blink and Sedoy, he's jumped onto the other two! Oh my god.
Wow.
Oh, I think they would have lost that anyway with the Razor if not.
Wow.
How unfortunate is that? Oh, man.
Beat him at his own gate now. Yeah, it's nice, but I'm still going to go down here, and they're just going to try to follow that up. They did pop a couple good cooldowns, so they need to get one more objective on top of that, but they have a small timing window. And
that is so...
I don't know.
Taking a note.
You do it enough, and somebody's going to be... You're going to find a bum hanging out there, too, but... Yeah, going to give more gold to Witch Doctor. I'm going to pursue that Aghanim Scepter, which, again, is going to be really good against TA and the entire side of VP if he can get the long duration one off. But Aegis gets reclaimed. That's going to be a pretty big impact, as well as Templar Assassin just can't go in with as much confidence. But yeah, Sedoy blinking into that position, continuously just getting that encroachment, going closer and closer, getting more and more involved, and then the Razor not even ready to respond. Like, what could have possibly come of that in a positive sense? Like, they were forcing the issue, they were pushing further and further in, and they obviously weren't ready to fight.
To be fair, that was pretty goddamn unlucky. Death Prophet and Void, both with BKBs, were just sitting right where he blinked in. At the same time, yeah, I do agree with you. Strategically, that was not a fight they wanted to take then. Not with the Razor away from the fight, but... I mean, come on, please. Like, you can't predict that shit. That's just so unlucky. Oh my goodness. And the worst part is it's not just like it's not any old hero. It's their entire walking one-man team fight with double Ravage ready. Oh, that sucks.
Yeah, certainly does. I don't know. And they've been crumbling for a long time now. As far as like general momentum, obviously they still have some gold advantage, but the experience has been moving up towards Alliance. They're going to get some key level 16s pretty soon. Obviously the Slark really wants his. Rubik will work his way there as well. And I don't know. There's these fresh BKBs pose a severe problem for Virtus Pro. Jesse's going to use his Invis Rune, bottle up a DD. But yeah, it's going to just be some farming from both sides. We did see some stack farming from the TA and the Shadow Demon. We do see now the Ancient stacks being killed off by Alliance as well. And in general, more gold on the board gives them more answers for this Ravage. It's not going to be the end-all be-all here.
Oh, Invis Chelsea's waiting. He's going to throw out the Yules, and then he just runs the hell away. He decides, we don't want to fight so close to the tower of VP. They could have the double Ravage to turn this. And I just don't know, Blaze. It's almost like they have to take enough fights that the BKBs are lower duration, because it is going to be hard for Tide to find a good Ravage at this stage of the game. Like, they almost need this to go late, just so the BKBs wear down.
It's an interesting perspective, I suppose. I mean, it definitely has merit, but at the same time, I just don't feel that confident with the current rate of farm on the Razor in particular, but also the TA, when it comes down to trying to go up against this lineup late. Slark 6-slotted, Void 6-slotted. It almost seems impossible. Yes, it's better for the BKBs to tone down, but the more windows of opportunity you give them, the more they're going to get. And it looks like Void's going to be finished up that Mjolnir pretty soon.
Yeah, Bulldog's starting to get pretty damn big, and this is going to give them some nice, just additional AoE damage, well, effectively AoE damage, to go with the Death Horde. Speaking of which, Key, he's almost got his eggs complete. Yeah, I definitely don't feel confident in VP's late game. I never would against this Alliance lineup. It's just ridiculously strong, but I also don't feel that confident they're fighting right now, unless they somehow just completely catch Alliance off guard, which is tough to do.
They might have done it a little bit earlier in the top lane, but not the way they wanted to.
Well, now there's triple BKB, though. Oh yeah, they caught them off guard with that blink. That's true. That Moonlight Shadow as Alliance. Right as they push him in, this might be it. This might be it. Arrow. Searching. Gets nothing. Trap onto Chessie. Do they pursue? Bulldog, he's ready. Oh. They conned them off. 3 heroes caught out of the Chrono. Defensive disruption, not enough as the ward splashes through. A full duration Death Ward. Absolute annihilation. VP gets shredded. Now they'll buy back. They need to start going in right now with the Tide. But can they catch anyone? Plinky forward is TA. Straight onto Chessie, but the Ghosts are going to start doing work against him. Purge already been used. Chessie gets out safely. Alliance find their openings. They get the free kills, and then they back the hell off.
This Sentry Ward has been here for almost 3 minutes time, and it just won them the most gigantic team fight of all. Like, getting that detection, seeing that Moonlight Shadow, and immediately getting the best possible Chrono in that environment. They didn't get the Shadow Demons, the disruption did screw things over a little bit, but it doesn't matter. They just dominated. There was not even one Ravage, let alone 2. They forced the buyback on both the TA and the Tide, probably the 2 most important heroes right now, and they just get the Aghanims all in the Witch Doctor. Ult up in 30 seconds. I don't even know. Like, the positioning from Alliance has been really good, and the reactions have been even better, and it, by and large, makes up for everything they lost in the early game stage. It's just it's a bit of a virtuous throw, but at the same time, Alliance have just been playing this extremely well past the 15-minute mark.
Yeah, I still do want to go back to that state, though, where it really felt like they could just have grabbed the Aegis before they lost the fight and then went for the Roach, and at the very least, Alliance would have been fighting from a much bigger deficit. At that stage of the game, they were down 10k gold. I think it was right around here. It was right before they had the Roche, the pre-Roche fight. Then they had a good fight with Bulldog, got a couple kills, and then on round 2 of their lives, VP took Aegis, and then they immediately lost it for G. So, yeah, I would say it's a bit of a throw from VP, yet I also agree with you that since that moment, Alliance has played exceptionally well, and it's just the power of the Chronosphere more than anything. It's so hard to take team fights when you don't have, like, a Doom, a Bat, someone really good at jumping the Void. It becomes very difficult to lock them down. And they got nothing to go through BKB. No Roar, no Fiend Script. Options are extremely limited to deal with the Bulldog at this stage.
Yeah, and Lotus getting big now. He's got a blink of BKB, treads, and 2,700 gold. If you remember, just like 15, 20 minutes ago, he was just sitting on a Bracer, treads, a magic wand, and trying to get his items built up, trying to get any kind of durability. And yeah, now he's just towards the top of the net worth here. Obviously nowhere near Chessie's level, but at the same time, he's going to be able to do that much more with the gold compared to the 3 heroes above him.
VP just seemed lost more than anything. It's not just the fact that they're losing the fights, it's that they don't have any confidence to take future engagements right now. Just pushing out the waves, but then kind of aimlessly wandering around.
Oh, the bait!
Loda. Oh.
That was so close.
Leaps in, blinks out, grabs the DD. Meanwhile, mid. Razor BKB forced out for very little. I think it was just Yule's Scepter. No, not even Yule's, just they charged towards him and he BKB'd in a panic.
They're scared, man. They're very scared. We do have a lot of mobility on Yule. Blink and Force Staff allows him to stay away from the Chrono at all costs and should enable him to get continuous disruptions off, but we do see that the Chronosphere is now at full duration, so 5 seconds, only half of that going to be disrupted. That's still going to be a good time for Void to find some good targets. So we're going to see some smoke movement. They need to get these Ravages off. Bottom line, they need to ravage some fools. And of course, Key doesn't have a BKB yet, so he'd be a great person to hit, but right now they're going for the flank to gank to try to bring down Chessie. Has BKB at 8 seconds, and does have Yule's Shiva's TP. A lot of different ways to get out of this. Ideally, they get the BKB charge and the kill.
Even Misery's going for a BKB. We're going to see 5 BKBs on this team soon enough, and they will break the smoke now. Jumping onto Chessie, Plasma Field's going to clip him. They'll purge him, but he can BKB TP out if he wants to. No, he's going to turn and fight this with Exorcism. He's got a little backup, though. Instantly kill if you'll say hello to my little friend as Jodam leaps. Tries to retreat out, but he'll get caught, shredded by the ghost. Chessie doesn't even need Bulldog any longer. He just does it himself. And when he BKVs, VP got absolutely nothing. They just gotta run. That's bad. That way they just 2v5 VP, basically.
Yeah, it comes down to the fact that supports don't really have anything but mobility items. I mean, the Ghost Scepter helps, obviously, but it's not breaking it. At least they didn't lose the gem. We're going to see Cluckles pick it up here on the northwestern part of the map, and he's going to make the mission impossible back home. But it's just they're focusing the right heroes first and foremost. Like the physical damage going against Shadow Demon is absolutely brutal, and he got the silence on him, so there's nothing he could really do. And yeah, they got the right focus. VP is going mobility on the supports, and they're going for BKBs and now damage on the cores. If they had gone for damage in the first place, Chessie wouldn't be such a big threat, but now he's able to really tank through most of what they provide unless there's a lucky crit.
Yeah, and G is starting to build towards that big damage item in the data list, but it doesn't matter how much farm G has. If he gets chronoed and there's follow-up from Exorcism, from Death Ward, he's still going to go down. And once he dies once, he's dying twice if his team's not there to protect him. The Chain Bash will kill him off. He probably can't even man-fight this Void too effectively, let alone if Bulldog has backup. And we'll probably see Loda pick up a Basher of his own eventually this game, so I really worry for the TA. And like you mentioned, I'm also very concerned about the Razor. To me, BZZ is much more likely to be able to carry this, but to do it, he needs the Ag's Refresher. He probably needs a heart to have a chance of living through Chrono, and he just doesn't have that kind of farm.
Yeah. Ideally, he'd be able to get a Hex on top of that as well. It would be really helpful against the Void and the Slark. But, I mean, right now, control is not necessarily their issue. It's more the fact that they just can't farm as fast, and they can't control the enemy's territory. They're going to go in now, try to make a Moonlight Shadow play happen. And as far as detection goes, there isn't any carried. And I can't see any sentries on the ground. So this could be a pretty big opening.
They don't have any vision right now. Bulldog's hiding in the trees. The Moonlight Shadow's going to wear off soon, and Yol has a Blake. He'll disrupt to start this one off. Now going to follow it up with the... Oh, Ravage, that's a whiff. That's a whiff. Now it's stolen by Misery, and they also Chrono Incident. They won't get a secondary Ravage, and it's turned against them now. The Witch Doctor holds there. It's a full duration channel pounding into G. It'll finish off the Aegis. He's gone down once. Ghost still flying strong. BZZ trying to duke it out. He's got a cheese ready. He'll need to pop it. And G says, screw it, man. I'm going in. Maledict's here, though. And G's forced back quickly. Loda ready to pursue him out with a BKB. One more Dark Pact will end G, and he ends up going down to the Witch Doctor. It looks like the Maledic damage. One more tick killing him off. BZZ trapped out. The plays. BZZ gonna fall here as well. He tries to stand his ground and fight, but with a little bit more backup, which comes now from Loda, they'll end him too. 4 heroes down. The Shadow Demon even being pursued by Bulldog, but out of mana. Bulldog will give up the chase. And that disruption into BKB by Void. I mean, there's really nothing you can do about that, man.
Yeah, that's like a Naga turnaround, BKB black hole. Like, that's pretty much what you're looking at. There's no way, if you just look at the terrain in general, geometrically, there's no way that you can get that overcommitted blink initiation and not get caught in a really bad Chronosphere or a really bad Witch Doctor ultimate. You're just in this single funnel, and the only way you get to the Witch Doctor is through the Void, through the Chrono, and through the Death Prophet, and they're just tearing you apart all the while. It's just, that was a good opportunity based on the positioning of Alliance in general, but based on the map location, it was just a horrendous mistake when that BKB was involved.
Yeah, it's again the issue for them. They have nothing on BKB as far as stuns go. Like, you've got some physical damage from Razor and TA, but the issue is they never get to right-click. And there's really no
I would much have preferred an Abyssal on the TA than anything else, really. Like...
Yeah, it's... If he had an Abyssal right now, he wouldn't have anything else, though. It'd be like a BKB Treads Abyssal.
Well, we were pushing the BKB in the first place. I kind of feel like if he had...
Yeah, that's true. I still feel the BKB has done nothing for him this game.
He's on 9 seconds. Like, he's used it once, so, I mean, that's...
Obviously that's not helping it to do anything from the fact that he's not using it, but even if he did... And now Rubik's got a BKB. Misery can just waltz into these fights and steal Ravage. Like, there's literally nothing Tide can do.
Let's go into the Spell grocery store. Just pushing the cart along. I'll take that one, and I'll take that one, and...
Take a Ravage, maybe I'll snag an Eye of the Storm while I'm at it, and, you know, for good measure, I'll steal Arrow towards the end of the fight just to get a snipe kill. Yeah, Blaze, I'm telling you, man, this is all about just waiting. This is the next level, go ultra late game, where the BKB is a really low cooldown. 7 seconds on Bulldog. 6 seconds on Chessie. Even then, though, like, they're getting so tanky. There's a heart up on Chessie. Even if they double Ravage him and TA's jumping on him, do they kill him at all? Like, I don't know, man.
It's really hard. At this point, they've made it extremely difficult for themselves, and Alliance obviously are adding a lot to that. They're doing whatever they can to disrupt the attempt initiations from Virtus Pro, and they seem stretched thin now. They really are trying to engage in positions that they don't have much control over. Although they have some decent map vision right now, and the Moonlight Shadow, as we were mentioning, didn't really have a counter until they fed the gem back. It's just... The end result is that they still don't have a great answer to anything that Alliance has purchased, and that's going to remain for a very, very long time. Demonic Purge is a simple kiting maneuver against one target, but that's all they've got.
There's no kiting against Chronosphere either. That's the bigger issue, you know? Like, you purge the Void, maybe Bulldog doesn't kill someone, but he doesn't... That's not stopping the Witch Doctor from killing someone. It's not stopping the Death Prophet from killing someone, and... Yeah. Here we go. Alliance pushing in the top lane. One good Chrono on the high ground, this will be a GG. Because they're going to take a full lane of Rax if they get this fight the way they want it.
Yeah, and Scotty too.
And they've got the mass BKBs to force the issue. You almost just have to... Well, they'll purge Chessie to start Blink. Ravage #1 can be stolen here by Misery. He BKBs, he goes in. Sadoy not getting caught out. He'll refresh and now go for a secondary Ravage. BKB, though, was on Misery. He doesn't actually steal it. He just blinks out. They hold their ground all right. Bulldog may end up going down here. It took them 2 Ravages just to hold the high ground, though. BZZ will end up dropping. And the Exorcism still goes strong. Loda now leaping forward with an Eye of Scotty. He finally can dish out damage in this fight. And Loda will actually end up getting his team a few kills. There were 2 buybacks forced out, 3 heroes dead. VP with the double Ravage still struggling. But Key will drop as well. And they will end up getting at least 1 kill as a trade.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, like, the Razor had a huge duration where the Death Prophet was caught inside the Chronosphere. Chessie was in the full duration Chronosphere, and he only ended up right-clicking Chessie like 2 or 3 times, and obviously he got away with like 15-20% HP. That heart just giving him a little bit too much, and once he gets out, he gets back to full with the Exorcism. So they're going to go for the Roche play. The Cheese obviously going to help them out quite a bit here, but it doesn't change the state of affairs. They need something big.
Misery just threw a stolen arrow in, but it's too late. Age is already going the way of VP. And it is a pretty important game for an Aegis. Like, obviously, it's always a very important aspect of Dota, but this game, especially when you're up against the massive AoE ultimates, you really need to have a second life, so when they're done, you have a chance. And giving it to the TA would have been nice, but G actually takes Cheese. I feel like the TA needs the Aegis a little bit more, to be honest, but hey, just getting the Aegis Cheese is going to be very good for VP here, if they have any chance to turn this game. They haven't actually lost lane of Rax yet, but it doesn't feel like the momentum's with them, man. That's the biggest concern.
Oh yeah, I mean, if you just look at the gold graph in general, it's not been with them for the past 20 minutes. The gold graph is now 14,000 in favor of Alliance. Buybacks are coming out left and right from Virtus.pro. Every time they try to defend their high ground or even take a fight, they're committing more resources due to the buybacks. And eventually, it's not going to be enough. They're going to be just so behind in terms of just general net worth. And you can see that clearly as, we saw Loda had the Scotty, BKB, Blink, and buyback in that last fight. Didn't even need anything of the sort because, of course, he did survive throughout all of it. So now he's got 4K, can go over the Abyssal himself, and Virtus.pro just have nothing. They have to find pickoffs individually.
Well, Chessie would be the perfect individual pickoff, as he's hugging the southern tree line, but they can't quite get in range of him. Sadoy. Oh, maybe they do. Maybe they do. Poison here. Key. Oh, disrupted. But the arrow's going to miss as a result. And the Witch Doctor just mounts.
See, that's the potential, but they haven't realized it all game long. Because just in general, they've always had G locked down. He, like you mentioned, is practically a melee hero in his range. And it's very limiting when it comes down to actually trying to position against all these big ultis.
That is the potential, but if Alliance 5-man... they can't find those picks. And there's no reason for Alliance not to 5-man, really. They'll lift G mid lane. Now dropping him down to the Chronosphere. He's got Cheese. If he can live through this, he can pop it. Bulldog got a little excited and start going for other targets, but they still goes back, gets the kill, and yeah, 2 easy stags. Just when you think, alright, now they've got a pulse, Chrono says, hell no. No pulse for you, sir.
I blinked and he was just scattered around. By other targets, you meant he was hitting a couple creeps there, or did he try to leave the Chronosphere for more heroes? Because there was actually an arrow available on Misery, and that would, if they had just kind of set it up, like they creep swarm down the creep wave, and Misery could have arrowed into it if they needed it. But he's just, like you said, with the butterfly, if you can't evade, you can't live, and Templar Assassin just can't stand against this void any longer.
And they're gonna rotate towards the top lane, Misery and Bulldog. They may look to push in, though Chrono is down for 30 seconds, so if they want to... Oh, Courier kills.
Oh!
That was carried in Assault Cuirass.
That was the AC to counter the AC just picked up. All for BZZ, but no longer. He doesn't have buyback gold. He doesn't get anything out of the Courier.
And now they jump in. They get a bash on BZZ as well, but they counter Ravage. Ravage won. It's been stolen by Misery. He jumps in and nails everyone. Oh, that's going to be tough to fight through. Exorcism doing its work. BZZ still standing strong for the time being. But I don't know if it's enough. Chessie's just running right through the dire phase. Now he's on the retreat out. Maybe they can turn this with the buyback from the Tidehunter. He'll just look to stall, and Bulldog sets up the Chrono. That's going to nail the 2 carries. They'll find another here. Sadoy in the trees. It's not enough. Bash up from Bulldog right as Jotum's mid-leap. And GG. It's just too much. It's too much team fight. They had to be beyond perfect to win it at this stage. It's a rampage for Chessie. The much maligned new addition to this team. Although not officially on their full-time roster. There's been some threads questioning him. There's been some chit-chat about whether or not Chessie is legit. And to be fair, he had a lot of help from Bulldog, but he pulls it off. Puts a cherry on to top off this game as a Sunday. And that's going to wrap up the broadcast, Blaze. Alliance now improved to 6-4. They are right outside of that top 4 with a shot to go to the land finals of Kiev. They'll need a couple more good games like this to do it, but man... Too much wombo combo from Alliance. You just don't want to go late against that.
They gave them an inch and they took a mile. Alliance, they had a small freebie on the way of Virtus.pro by not taking that early Roche when they had the opportunity to do so, and every step since then was favorable for Alliance. MVP Bulldog easily with those Chronos, but some great play from the entire team, including Misery with the multiple Ravage steals. So, in general, very exciting game to watch. It seemed like it was going to be just completely one-sided with the early momentum, but that's where you let up and where you get overconfident. So nice job by Alliance to punish that, to bring it back, and to take the game here in 52 minutes.
And so ends another marathon day of broadcast here at Beyond the Summit. It's been another 12 to 13-hour day. Hope you guys enjoyed it. All VODs available at youtube.com/BeyondTheSummitTV. Of course, you can follow Blaze at BlazeCasting. Blaze, thank you so much for sticking with me, man. I really appreciate it. And last but not least, guys, if you want, you can follow me on Twitter as well, at LDDota. We'll have VODs available, as well as a BTS moment of that Tidehunter and its unfortunate Blake. I think that one will entertain the people who didn't get to catch it live. Guys, thanks for watching. For those who missed the earlier games, we're going to start a full rebroadcast. That will be kicking off, hopefully within the next 15-20 minutes. And, well, with that being said, Starladder Europe is done, but we'll be back in about 12 hours' time for more SEA, more China action, China Cup Dota, all the Dotas here on Beyond the Summit. We'll see you later. Stay tuned. Goodbye.